Three Faces of Fantasy. Going to
What's
two
up?
right now. Mojo
Yes,
should
sir.
be coming in. What's going on, Guru?
You got it, true, man. You got it, true. It's another day, week 5. It's almost in the books. We just have 2 more games to go for the week, and so far it's looking good. Looking good.
It's looking good for you. I had a rough week. I had a rough week in fantasy this week, but I go about 500. It seems. We'll see. Got a couple. I got a game or two hanging on tonight. So and
It's
also,
always about that bounce back.
yeah.
This that time of the year where you really can't count. You can't put too much stock into what's going on because you kind of still feeling out your team, still trying to make adjustments, make a couple of trades, maneuvers, some ad drops, and really the level of sustainability doesn't really come through around until like week 7, 6, 7 or so. That's when you pretty much have your solid squad for the rest of the season. So you straight.
Yeah. You know what? I definitely I agree with you. I don't like losing, especially I'm losing the mojo. But you're right. I mean, by week 5, 6, I've still got people, I wasn't completely sure of. We got people just coming back. And
And
you
then my
know,
favorite part of the year is coming up, the buys.
yeah.
That's when you really see the coaching and general management coming through strong. Is when you're able to prepare for those moves and navigate through those obstacles.
Yeah, this is the part of the season where you really see what type of fantasy player you are. I mean, because it really comes down to your bench. It comes down to coaching moves. You're looking at games played, what type of what the teams are looking like going towards the mid season, and also trades. This is when you want to pick up people who have a better schedule for the rest of the season because you're looking at going towards the championship. I mean, I'm pretty good in all my leagues. I'm good, but one. I'm definitely either 4-0, 3-1, 2-2. So I'm looking good at least vying for the playoffs. So I'm not worried about a loss too much. I'm more like you said. I'm more worried about making sure I got my set lineup who I want to run with for the second half of the season. So how these games go today?
I mean, there were a lot of long yardage touchdowns, a lot of long yardage plays. I think there were like 11, 50 or more. We had 75, 77s, 98 with the Josh Allen and Gabe Davis. Matter of fact, I think Gabe Davis had the 2 longest plays today. Not to mention you have Pollard with a 50-something yard scamper. So there was a lot of big plays today. I don't know what that says about the defenses, but there were a lot of big plays today. So that definitely, especially if you're in a full PPR league or even a half PPR league, those big play opportunities can set you aside, can be the difference between a victory and a defeat.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And it also very frustrating if you're leaving that person on the bench. I had Gabe Davis on the bench today.
Ooh. Hey, I don't even blame you. I don't even blame you. I'm not gonna lie. At the last second, I plugged him in I think 4 different spots that I had him on the bench. So I don't even blame you. He hadn't really producing. He was healthy, not healthy, healthy, not healthy. And I think the only reason I plugged him in was because of Isaiah McKenzie. And so I wouldn't even, I wouldn't even blame you on that one. Plus, if we knew it was going to be a blowout, so there was the likelihood of not having a lot of opportunities for him to get in the end zone. So
Exactly. I was going between him and CD Lamb, and CD Lamb, and London.
oh, you played London?
Actually, I didn't play London
Okay, good.
just because you know what I felt about London. I felt that they would probably focus in on him, the defense. Tampa Bay. So I did. I went with CD Lamb because he was he's one of my stars. I was still at the point where I was playing my starters, who I drafted first. But I think Gabe is going to be getting that, as long as he's not hurt, disappointing with that, last week, the week before. But that was really my logic behind not playing him, especially I wasn't completely sure if he was fully healthy. And I also was busy today, so I didn't realize that Isaiah McKenzie was out. He was out today, right? You hear me?
Well, we're here now. So you want to just jump into these games? Starting off with Thursday?
Yeah, let's go.
Did you catch that one?
I did catch the Thursday game.
Man, sorry to hear that.
That was an ugly game. Man,
it was ugly.
And I played Pittman and Sutton. I played Pittman and Sutton. They really didn't have terrible. They didn't have terrible games, but nothing to write home about.
Well, we had Colts 12, Broncos 9. So basically, a field goal game. It was a kicking man's day, and even went to overtime. So I just knew, okay, overtime. Somebody's gonna cross their goal line, but nah, they weren't trying to do that. Not that day. Not on Thursday. You can see missing out Jay Will and missing out Jay Taylor. Didn't really think that it was going to have, just based on the defensive matchups, didn't think it was going to have that much of an effect on the game as it relates to, just comparatively speaking. Of course, Jay Taylor is, top notch, and Jay Will's top notch as well. But I just figured they're both missing. So I figured, it was going to be able to get some productivity. But is that how it went down? Melvin Gordon, he was placed in the game, and he did about as well as he can do, I guess. I think he had 54 rushing and 49 receiving. So, he was right there at 100 yards. So he wasn't going to hurt you, though, if you had him.
Yeah, he didn't. He actually, the third string, Boom. Mm-hmm. He didn't have a terrible game, But I agree with you. That was an ugly game. What's your thoughts on Russell Wilson?
Man, I try not to think about Russell Wilson. All I can say is I'm glad I don't have him, not on any league whatsoever. I tried to use him in a package to get as far as trade, but I don't have him. I just don't think he's comfortable in that offense. I mean, he had 274 yards, but he had 2 picks, and even with Sutton, 5 for 74, but no end zone love. Judy broke out on big plays, but again, nothing in the end zone. And you would think they would take advantage of this, especially since on the other side, Pittman didn't do anything. I believe that the lead receiver was Alex Pierce for the Colts, and so as far as what you said, as far as Wilson, I'm putting a vote of no confidence, bro. No confidence on him. It's I wouldn't suggest anybody start him until he starts to produce.
No, I hear you, man. I hear you. I mean, Wilson is. I'm completely out on him at this point. Completely out.
Yeah, he tricked us last week. Made you think that he was about to be something, but.
Mm-hmm. Nah. What about the morning game? The London
man.
game?
Yeah, so out here in Cali, I had to get up at 5:30, 6 o'clock to watch that one. But it was worth it. I will say this as part of a little forecast. I know we jokingly like to say the NFC least, but I definitely got to say it's looking more like the NFC beast because Dallas 4-1, Philly undefeated, and your New York Football Giants are sitting at 4-1. They took down the back-to-back MVP. That was a good one. The final score was 27, Packers 22. It came right down to the end. You thought there was going to be a magic out of A-Rod, but nope. He had 222 yards, and they just really never just moved. Jones, I think 63 rushing, and Dylan 34 rushing. It was ugly. Lazard got in the end zone. They tried to force it to Dubs. Even I think it was. Well, you know what? Okay. For me, it's kind of like they're doing what Patrick Mahomes and KC, trying to spread it around too much, and he doesn't really have the same personnel, or he doesn't have the skill set, but it's just not happening. And so I don't know. I don't. I guess what I'm saying, there's no true consistency.
No, I hear you. I mean, there was a few ugly games. Like you said, there was a lot of decent games this week, but some of your main players that we always count on. I mean, it's a lot of changes this year. People not showing up, you know.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it was a good one. Saquon, he did what he does best. He balled out. Jones did well. Or Danny Dimes, I should say. He seven. He managed the clock. He did what he was supposed to do. And I believe Saquon had 130. Wait, how much did Saquon have? I know I had 70 rushing, and I think he ended up with like a total of 100 or something. Yeah, 36 receiving. But yeah, he was the Giants' offense. So as he
Mm-hmm.
goes, they go. Oh, but I did forget the lead receiver out of nowhere with 79 yards with Mr. Darius Slayton. I promise you, nobody had him on their roster.
Yeah, yeah. No, I know. I mean, what was one of the games today that you had guys in that actually blew it out the park today?
That blew it out the park. Oh man, it's a good one. Let me think. I'll say in New Orleans, I had Taysom Hill, Alvin Kamara, and Chris O. Respectively. I figured Alvin Kamara. I mean, Alvin Kamara is Alvin Kamara. You're gonna always play him if you got him. If he's playing, you're gonna play him. So I definitely had him in a bunch of lineups. I had Taysom Hill in a bunch of lineups because he got me a touchdown last week, and I figured no Jameis. Again, he's one of the people that I plugged in after I realized Jameis wasn't playing. I figured no Jameis. We're gonna have the red rifle back there, and either Kamara or T Hill was going to get up in the end zone. So I put T Hill up in there, and then Chris O again without Michael Thomas. Chris Olave is who's going to be the number one receiver. So they definitely represented, and they took care of business for me.
Chris O got a concussion today.
What?
Did you see Chris O got a concussion today?
Yeah. So
Can't hear me?
he left the game and he came back.
Uh-huh.
He left the game and he came back, but so I did see that, but I guess we'll have to just see what comes of it because I did see that he had a concussion, but was it actual concussion? Because like I said, I thought he came back into the game.
I thought he was. I thought he was out.
That was the game when Saints had 39, Seahawks had 32, and Kamara had 103 rushing, 91 receiving, and Chris O 55 receiving, 8 receptions with a touchdown. And then of course, T Hill, he was just monstrous with 4 touchdowns, 112 rushing, throwing, passing. I think he even kicked the touchdown. I don't know. He did everything.
Luckily, I wasn't playing against him today.
Yeah, I mean, and I didn't play this guy, but in that same game, DK Metcalf, he had 88 and one, which it's a little misleading, but Lockett had 104, and so Gino with 268 passing with a couple of tubs. So I didn't anticipate that, but it's how it turned out.
What about that Chargers Cleveland game?
The Chargers Cleveland game, it was a letdown. It was a letdown on one side it was a letdown, only because I'll put it like this: if you had the defense, it was a letdown. If you had Chargers defense, but I had Nick Chubb in a few leagues, and so he did well, and I can't complain about that as well. Kareem Hunt got into the end zone for me as well. So, that was definitely a plus as well. That was definitely an additional assistant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, did you
Mike
have
Williams? I think, I did have Mike in a couple leagues. I had him in a couple leagues, so that worked out as well. I played against Justin Herbert, and it seems like even though Mike Williams had a good game, Herbert didn't. So I don't know if you caught on to that game or not, but yeah, I'm trying to think that same game. The Chargers had 30, and the Browns had 28, and so I know Cooper got off. Herbert had 228 passing yards. And you thought he was going to get more, but I guess when you have Austin Eckler getting 173 rushing and 26 receiving, then it's not going to be a lot more to go. Because Mike had 134 touching, 134 receiving yards. So, those were pretty good opportunities for people who played them. And I'm glad to see. I don't have any shares of Amari Cooper. But I will say I am glad to see that he is being utilized, and he's finding the end zone, he's finding the yardage. So I am glad to see that for him.
Yeah, he's getting the targets.
76 yards, but he got in the end zone as well.
Yeah, and last week, although he only had one catch for almost pretty much no yards, he got a lot of targets.
You said last week he had a lot of targets?
Yeah. They were targeting. I watched that game. He just couldn't, the defense really pretty much shut him out. But they were trying to get the ball to him. So I see Amari Cooper as, he's definitely a viable play. I had one league, a three wide receiver league. I play him every week.
And as you said, that one of the things you got to think about is when you're playing against, especially if you're playing against the Browns. I've noticed that the quarterback play is not going to be as consistently. We can't be as consistently optimistic because, we have Nick Chubb running the ball up and down the field with 134 yards, and then you have Kareem Hunt. He's running up and down as well, complimenting Nick Chubb. And he had 47. So you put that together, that's almost 200 yards. So that's a lot of time of possession for Cleveland Browns. So something to take into consideration if you're wavering between two particular receivers or two particular quarterbacks, and they're playing against teams that are high, heavy run offense, then you may want to reconsider.
Yeah.
If they're even.
You touched on that Miami game. What do you think about Brees Hall, the
Oh
Jet?
man, Breeze Hall.
Are the Jets for
I can
real?
say this. I'm bothered that I don't have any shares of Breeze Hall. So if anybody out there want to trade them to me, I'd like to get on that. But you know what? I'm surprised I don't, because I know y'all try to bash me and say that I'm a Jets lover. However, I know Mojo has Brees Hall, and so he has a lot of Jets on his squads. I just thought about that, but he had 97 rushing, 100 and how many did he have receiving? I think 100. Yeah, he
I
had
believe.
100 receiving. So he basically almost had a 200-yard game by himself. I mean, that was more than some teams had complete offenses. So like Detroit, for example. So I think he I think he's real. I think he's real. I think he's taking over the backfield. He's not only a running, he's also catching it out the backfield as well. And making he's definitely making himself known in that division, conference, and in the league altogether.
That was the coming out party.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Lights is on. The party favors are going, drinks are spilling. Oh yeah, definitely coming out party for sure, for sure.
No, I give it to him. He's definitely showing up. I can't really front on the Jets anymore. But they put up 40 today.
Yeah.
They put up 40 today.
Yeah, and he has some long breaks. They definitely dominate. I mean, I guess that goes to coincide with why they won the game.
Yeah.
But they just had 40, Dolphins had 17. And on the other side of on the other side of the field in that same game, uh, uh, I think Waddle didn't do much. If you were counting on him, he only had 23 receiving yards. Ouch.
Mm.
That's not going to get it. Mostert, though, if you have Mostert, he had 113 yards rushing. So, and Chase Edmonds had one. So for all people that thought it was a backfield, split backfield and all that, Mostert has definitely cemented himself as the number one running option in Miami. And if you got him, good. If you don't, get him. If you can't, sorry.
Yeah, that. But see, that was we talked about that last week. That's one of the reasons I just kind of stay away from. I stayed away from Miami because I wasn't sure who was going to do
I could
what.
barely hear you. Say it again.
I said that was one reason. You hear me now?
Yeah.
I said there's one reason I just kind of stay away from Miami backs because I wasn't really sure who was going to do what. Both of them are good backs, but it comes down to how they're going to play the game and how they scheme it up. But I'm real. I think the Jets are there. Jets are who they we well they're not who we thought they were.
Yeah,
You hear me?
pretty much.
I'm trying to work my
You would
microphone.
think with the twin speedsters, Waddle and Hill, that it was going to bring a lot more blowout wins like earlier in the season, and therefore you'd have a lot more rushing towards the end of the year. I mean, towards the end of the game. But today, Hill had 47 yards and 13 rushing, and again with Waddle having 23, that's not gonna move the needle anywhere. It's not gonna intimidate anybody.
What is going on over there in New England? Did Harris get hurt
In
today?
New England,
Yeah.
New England. Oh, Mr. Ramondre Stevenson, he was balling out. Um, he balled out, and I that's a backfield that I've been a little concerned about because I did believe that Stevenson would take over the backfield, but I didn't think that I didn't know when it was going to happen. I didn't know how it was going to happen. I just knew that at some point he was going to take over the backfield, and he did a good job today. He definitely did.
Yeah, I mean, I think I have Davis. I mean, I'm sorry, Harris in a league, and it seems like he got an injury today. I didn't have, like I said, I was running around all day. I didn't have a chance to really, focus on all the games, especially the early games. But
I mean, he had 161. Um, yeah,
yeah,
161 on the ground, 14 in the air, and then D like I said, and D Harris did get hurt. So Damon Harris did get hurt. So it's going to be his backfield depending on how long it's going to be down. Um,
hmm
but they had 29. Lions had 0 in that same game. We were all looking forward to the return of Amon-Ra St. Brown. I plugged him in 4 of my leagues, and you know what? And I was not going to. Typically, whenever it comes down to game time decision, I get real leery on playing players because I'm like, okay, look, if they don't know that they want to rock with him early in the week or at least early in the day, then why should I? I have options. I know why they have to because they don't have options on the NFL level, but on the fantasy level, I got other guys on my bench.
yeah,
And you kind of don't want to ever sit Amon-Ra St. Brown, but I sure wish that I did today because he got me a sexy 18 yards receiving, and even Jamal Will only had 57. So there was no offensive movement. Golf couldn't do anything for all those who streamed golf this week. Condolences. Uh, but they had. I don't know how they went from having being the highest scoring offense in the league to a big donut.
yes. And it was surprising, and I'm kind of hot. I didn't play Patriots defense, but why would I against the
You
highest
wouldn't.
offense in the
Nah,
league, right?
nah. You would never. I guarantee you, Patriots defense is on everybody's bench or everybody's waiver. If anybody out there started Patriots defense, screenshot that and send it to me. I love to see that, and I'll bow down. Nobody was going to do that. No one.
I started to. I
Well,
started to.
you would have been the one.
Why? I don't know. It's
Well, I
just,
mean, Detroit is Detroit, but
and I do try. I don't trust Bill Belichick when it comes to running backs, but I do trust him when it comes to defense. He has a way of scheming up defenses.
well, yeah,
For
the thing about him, they always say that he takes out your best weapon.
hmm yeah, and he'll keep you off the field. So I thought about it, but I ended up switching it out for KC. I don't know how that's going to go, but
Well,
we shall see.
did you see that Buccaneers game?
I didn't get to see any of the early games.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
I was in a
Yeah, we
function.
tried to give it away. We were up 21-0, and then let them score. They went for 2. The final score ended up being 15, 21-15. But Brady did extremely well. I'm so glad I played him. Once he got his weapons back, he's back to who he is. Brady had 351 passing yards, a couple of tubs. Godwin 660. I'm sorry, 6 receptions, 60 yards. Mike Evans, he didn't really. He had 4 receptions with 81, but they were still very productive. And then of course, playoff Lenny, he got in the end zone twice, 56 rushing, and it was balanced. And I didn't record the stats, but I know that Rashad White,
Mhm.
he in fantasy wise, he actually ended up getting 8.9 points, and the significance of that is everybody got off today. Godwin got in the teens. Mike Evans got in the teens. Brady went off. Leonard Fournette went off, and they still had enough for Mr. White to get in. So um, that was good. A lot of people started Tyler Algier. I was trying to tell people that's a mistake because while I do have confidence in our defense, I know that there are certain teams that if you want to beat them, the tight end position, like for example today, well, pretty much Arizona, Philly, and Tampa. Those are the teams you want to play your tight end against. So um, that's why I honestly thought today. I knew today wasn't going to be just the Pitts. Well, I'm sorry. Let me stay with this one. Once they said Pitts was out, I was like, oh, I'm out on everybody on the Atlanta squad. But that's why I didn't want to play. I wanted to play Goddard a big in the Philly game. I knew it wasn't going to be a big AJ Brown game for Philly because I figured they were going to be targeting Goddard a lot. Same thing on the flip side with Arizona. One way to beat Philly is if you have a strong tight end. So I figured those two were going to have. It was going to be a Goddard versus Hurts day with Arizona and Philly. That's why I didn't want to play St. Brown. I didn't want to play AJ Brown, but how do you sit AJ Brown?
Yeah, exactly. Some people are just you can't sit him.
Say what?
I said some players. He's one of those players you just can't sit.
Yeah, he's an auto start. He's definitely an auto start.
Is Penny going to be out for a long time? Did you hear anything about his injury?
Oh yeah, Penny left in the boot and crutches. He left in the boot and with crutches. Matter of fact, we didn't mention earlier, but Tyreek left in the boot also. But yeah, Penny left in the boot and crutches. So, hopefully you have another option. I know a lot of times they do those boots as a precautionaries and what have you, but I think his was legit. And
is this time to start?
Then we had the dominating games like Bill 38, Steelers 3. And that's why I was telling everybody, sit your Steelers. And not even just because of the Buffalo's defense, because Buffalo's defense has been banged up, but because it's the Steelers and the O-line, and it's nasty, and the rookie quarterback. And Josh had 424 yards, a couple of touchdowns, 42 rushing, and then, of course, Diggs got his. Diggs had a touchdown, and I believe he had 102 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 102 yards. But Gabe Davis, my man, 171 off of 3 receptions. 171. But like I said at the beginning of the podcast, he actually had the 2 longest receptions of the day. One with 98 yards. So he definitely was a force to be reckoned with. And then on the flip side, Najee Harris, nothing, bro. Nothing. 20 rushing yards, 16 receiving.
Is it
you can just stream somebody to do that.
What do you think about Najee?
Glad I have no shares, and if I did, I'd probably be trading him for a kicker or a donut or tuna sandwich or something. But because you're not gonna get much for Najee Harris at this point. You kind of hoping that one day they're gonna have a good game, but I believe I didn't pull up their schedule, but their upcoming schedule is not favorable at all. I think Philly's in there, Tampa's in there. They just try to deal with Buffalo, so their upcoming schedule is not. Oh, I think it's Baltimore. They don't have a nice schedule coming up, so unfortunately, you can't do anything with them. You just gotta hold them. Even Johnson only had 60 yards.
His number 2 didn't do bad today. What's his name? Wallen.
Who?
His number 2, Najee's. His backup.
Jaylen Warren, I think, or something like that.
Warren.
Yeah, he's explosive. I didn't see him this game, but I saw him last week, and he's really explosive as well. So, definitely. That Vikings game was interesting. They ended up winning 29-22, but the return of David Montgomery, Justin Jefferson had 154 receiving yards, got in there as well. Dalvin had 94. It was nice to see D Cook get back and get up in the end zone. So that was nice to see. And matter of fact, I was trying to trade Mojo Kirk Cousins. Uh, uh, he ended up with 296 yards and a rushing TD with a couple of tubs in the air. But
Mhm.
yeah, so it's that Mooney even I think Mooney had 52 yards.
Yeah, yeah,
Montgomery, um, I think Montgomery had I can't remember. I think he had 63, but he had two. He got an end zone as well. So the
yeah,
Minnesota game, they tried to give it away, but they held on to it.
yeah. He didn't have a bad day. Montgomery didn't have a bad day.
Right.
Um, what you think about tonight? The game's about to come on. What you think about tonight?
tonight. What we got? Cincinnati and Baltimore.
Yeah,
Well, I believe the over under was at 50, at 49 or 51. I'm hoping there's going to be a lot of scoring being done. Higgins, I'm hoping he's done well. Chase, I mean, pretty much I have a little bit of everybody on this. Mixon, yeah, I think I have everybody in this game. I even in one league where I lost, I think I lost Allen, I lost Bateman, I lost about four or five players in one league, and I actually went and picked D. Robinson because I have Lamar as a quarterback in that league. So I picked up D. Robinson to see, just as a long shot, and like maybe he might get something. But with Evan Duvernay having to be the number one now, Mark Andrews should get a lot. So it should be a high scoring affair.
yeah, yeah. I'm looking for him to
Definitely.
see what Dobbins does, but I think it's going to be a high scoring affair too.
Yeah, well, I'm playing against Dobbins, so if he want to take today off, that'll be nice. That'll be fine. I won't have a problem with that. I don't need him having a day like Derrick Henry today with 102 and two TDs. I don't need Dobbins doing that. I need I need Dobbins to just kind of just chill.
They're trying to get him reps. He's just coming back. They're trying to
You
get
said
him
what?
reps. They're trying to get him reps.
Oh yeah,
Coming back.
yeah. Which is crazy. Like, so do you? So are you said you're playing him?
I'm playing him in one league.
You are playing him? Oh
Yeah, I'm playing
yeah. See,
Dobbins, and the person I'm playing is playing Andrews. And at this point, we are
yeah.
9 points
Um,
apart.
well, I mean, again, I don't want him being like Pierce, because for Texans, Pierce had a nice game as well, and so 99 rushing and touchdown. So I don't need him doing that kind of stuff. I just want him to just slow down a little bit. He could be more like James Robinson, who had 27 yards. Something like that would be nice for J.K. Dobbins tonight.
He looked good last week, getting
Yeah.
work out of the passing game and the running game.
Hey, you know who was the leading receiver in the Jags game?
Oh,
Marvin Jones, 104 receiving yards.
I figured that because I played Christian Kirk and he did
Yeah.
nothing. Did nothing.
Well, yeah. So, but yeah, that was pretty much. I think those were all the games. And yeah, I did have Jones in a deeper league, but again, that was that same league where I lost five other players. So he
Mhm.
would never been on. He would have never been in my lineup. Never, ever, ever. But
Yeah, I can't stand Marvin Jones.
and so yeah, tonight's game is it's gonna be nice. It's gonna be interesting. I know they kicked off already,
Yeah,
and
yeah, we
Jamar
go.
Chase is gonna try to lead them to a victory.
All
I
right,
need
yeah.
him to get like 300 yards tonight. You think it's possible?
Yes, I do.
I like your confidence. I like your confidence.
Hoping so.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I know we short tonight. We're gonna this game's coming on. We're gonna get ready to start seeing what's gonna happen with these fantasy games. I think, going into this week, one of the main things, like we were saying earlier, you start to solidify who's going to be your starting lineup. It's one thing I'm looking at for Dobbins. I believe he can be in that flex spot.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking to see something from him. I got a little stock in Kenneth Walker on Seattle. So with Penny out,
Yeah.
time to go ahead and get him revved up. So that's what I'm
And
looking
then,
at tonight.
yeah, we'll go. And then we have the waiver show coming on Tuesday
Yeah.
with the forecast and waiver. So definitely something to take a look into. And if you have one of those weird leagues, like I'm in one of these weird leagues where you can just make waivers all throughout the week, whether the guy played already or not, you might want to go snatch one of the people up that Shoot just told you about.
Get him now. So thank you, Guru. Great job. And Mojo, we will see him on Tuesday. Three faces of fantasy. And we will be heading out a little early so everybody can catch the game. We don't on Sundays we don't want to start running into the game. So see everybody Tuesday. Peace.
All right, good luck.